Hey, if you've been feeling restless, unsatisfied, or like you should be happier than you are right now, then this message is for you. Not because something is wrong with you, but because you might be stuck in a pattern most of us never realize we're in. There's something called destination addiction, and it's the habit of always looking ahead, always waiting for the next thing to feel okay, the next milestone or the next version of your life. On the surface, it sounds like ambition. It sounds productive. It even sounds responsible. But underneath, there's often a quiet exhaustion, a feeling of never letting yourself arrive. You tell yourself, I'll be happy when things slow down, when I make more money, when I feel more confident, when I finally get where I'm going. And then you get there, you get the thing you wanted, the job, the relationship, the house, the peace you thought would finally settle in. And instead of relief, your mind immediately shifts again. Okay, but what's next? You want the house, then you want the bigger house. You want the promotion, then you want the title that comes after that. You want stability, then you want more freedom. You want rest, but only once everything is handled perfectly. And so the finish line keeps moving, not because you're incapable of being grateful, not because you don't appreciate what you already have, but because you've trained yourself to believe that contentment lives somewhere in the future, that today is just something to get through. A lot of us confuse this with having goals, and there is a difference. Having goals is healthy, growing is healthy. Wanting more for yourself is not the problem. The problem is when you find that your life becomes a waiting room, when you postpone joy, you postpone rest, when you postpone pride in yourself, when you tell yourself that who you are right now isn't enough to be satisfied yet. Sometimes destination addiction isn't about wanting more, it's about not feeling safe enough to pause. Because pausing means you have to sit with your life as it is. And that can feel uncomfortable, especially if you've spent a long time striving, especially if you've had to survive seasons where slowing down wasn't an option, especially if being productive became tied to your worth. So instead of asking, am I happy? You ask, what's next? Instead of asking, am I proud of myself? You ask, how can I do better? And there's always an answer to that question. There's always another upgrade, another improvement, or another thing to fix. But there's a quiet cost. to living this way. You stop noticing your own growth and you stop honoring how much effort things took. You stop letting moments land. You move through your life without ever fully being in it. And on nights like Sunday nights, when everything slows down, that restlessness gets louder because the distractions fade and you're left with this feeling that something is missing. Not because your life is lacking, but because you haven't allowed yourself to feel settled inside. Here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. You can still have goals and let yourself arrive, and you can still want more and allow today to be enough. Contentment does not mean complacency. Rest does not mean giving up. Pausing does not mean you're falling behind. Sometimes the most radical thing you can do is stop moving the goalposts. To say, for this moment, this, this is enough. Not forever, and not as a final decision, just for now. Because if happiness is always postponed, it never actually comes. And you don't need to wait until everything is perfect to let yourself feel okay. You see, you're allowed to have joy and enjoy what you've built so far. You're allowed to feel proud without immediately chasing the next thing. You are allowed to exist in the middle, not just the destination. If you're feeling uneasy tonight, maybe it's not because you need to do more. Maybe it's because you haven't let yourself acknowledge how far you've already come. And maybe it's because you've been living for a version of your life that hasn't arrived yet, while quietly overlooking the one you're already in. So, tonight, instead of asking yourself what's next, let's try asking something different. What if this moment counted too? What if you didn't need to earn peace by reaching the next milestone? What if arriving didn't mean stopping, but just simply noticing? You don't have to solve your whole life tonight. You don't have to figure out the next 5 years. You're allowed to arrive here, even briefly, even imperfectly. And that's enough for tonight. And if this message resonated with you and you want more grounding reminders each week, consider subscribing to Rooted and Rising Official and join me here each Sunday as we move through the week and the year ahead together.